Last November, Sonic got a new 3D game, and it was a strange one to say the least, but also not bad entirely as well. And of course, the music was fire, like actually perfect, like they nailed it. But the gameplay and story was kind of something else. And I want to speak about how I feel about this 7 out of 10, or maybe 8 out of 10, maybe if I'm feeling generous. I think that the gameplay actually fits Sonic pretty well. This Breath of the Wild style, game, this open world. After Breath of the Wild came out, so many open world games inspired by the game. I think that Sonic works pretty well. The blue bouncy boy, he fits here, right at home. I genuinely think that running around in the world feels great and pretty fluid with the tricks and flips. I like that, they put that small detail in the game, and they didn't have to, and they've shown that they really don't care sometimes with games like Forces, where Sonic didn't even have an idle animation. He just stands soullessly. But it's nice that they put something in the game like that. Same with, similar to how in Spider-Man you vault over something. Spider-Man does like a flip or like a side front flip, something like that. Something simple, but it adds so much more depth to the game than if it was just nothing. The combat, though, is kind of like a wet sock in winter. It's uncomfortable, sort of. I like Sonic having a wide variety of moves, and the fact that he can just obliterate something completely with, his hand in a counterattack, or do these crazy moves where he spins around and kicks upwards and then goes back down and then stomps to the ground. That's awesome. That's cool, but you're kind of just going to be doing the same thing to him. You're going to dodge him, you're going to go back, and then you're going to, do the same thing. You're going to keep hitting him, maybe throw a couple of blue balls at him, but that's really about it. And, it's kind of not that fun. Also, I have to talk about collecting a bunch of these hearts or pieces to trigger cutscenes and dialogue. It really, really gets annoying in the final map of the game. Grinding these, basically MacGuffins around the map is not fun, and then just hoping that you find one, and then running through the same area that you've already been through. And then as well, at the end of the game, they don't tell you that it's the end of the game, so if you don't have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, you're not getting that true ending, buddy. That, honestly, it was kind of a letdown, but we'll get there. Also, upgrading your stats actually does matter, and is needed. Talk to the Uncle Korok. I mean Coco. They're Cocos. Now, I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not, but this character designs, they're kind of plain. Especially the names, like Red Tower or just Tower, who is simply just a tower. You run up and you kill him. And other characters like Ninja. I think it was kind of bland that we didn't get any unique Sonic-type names for enemies like Badniks or Caterkiller. What a classic. Instead, just Spider. Come on now, what are these basic name choices? But I will say they did great on every boss design, minus the last two. The last two sucked, since it was literally the moon and a redesign of Giganto, but he's white and red. Oh, amazing, awesome. Who was already, he was already a great design and made for a great fight. And then you've got the dragon, and he is sick. And then the knight, who is also, he is amazing. I love that fight. That's probably my favorite fight in the game. Favorite song in the game, definitely. And they included a little bit of a Sonic Final Fantasy reference for all those, homies that played Flash games in the library, or wherever you were at the time. Classic. You should play it. It doesn't hold up. I promise. It doesn't. Sage is sort of a bland design with a kind of interesting character backstory, but I like that she goes from red to blue. It's sort of cool, kind of. If I was 13, I'd probably like it a lot more, but it's alright. They outdid themselves with Super Sonic, and I don't just have to, play them in the end game as an achievement, but you actually get to play as them in every single boss fight to the very end. And even though that final boss was trash and it was literally Galaga, but we'll get there. Hold on. You'll get these super sick and cool songs blaring as you fight these sick Colossus bosses, and the spectacle of these fights still isn't lost on me. And really, I really, really, really enjoy them. I actually hope they continue and adopt this new format, just expand upon it or change it a little bit, and definitely have it playable, outside of the boss fights in the world. If they do continue with an open world format, I don't know, with games like Sonic Superstars coming out, soon, but that just seems like kind of like a one-off thing. Hopefully not. I hope they continue to do that. That looks really cool. But if Supersonic was playable in the open world for Frontiers, he'd probably break the game. So it makes sense. Also, I forgot to mention that in the game's code, the islands were only meant to just be one huge island. But they broke it into more islands to pad out the game, which is not really cool. The story of this game is kind of strange, with the Ancients being the backstory of the creation of the Chaos Emeralds, which is kind of cool. And the Coco are meant to be like vessels of their souls, and you know, like they're still kind of around, and you get to see their memories from Cocos, and then when you see them, the Cocos die because their soul can finally rest into that peace. Their purpose has been fulfilled to an extent, and I'd say a valid reason. That's a valid reason for there to be no Chows. Still bring them back though. But you aren't really given time to care about the Ancients and the Titans that were meant to protect them from the end. And talking about the end, I think they are actually a cool concept for a character that exists as a karmic force of nature more than just a moon, which is why I think that they kind of got a really lazy and boring design. Honestly, they put one foot in and one foot out. It just felt like they didn't want to go balls to the walls, which is why I don't like that final boss fight. It's so bad. They didn't even change like the design of the moon. It would have been so much more interesting if the moon had like a unique design. It doesn't have to be Majora's Mask, of course. It definitely should be unique, but it would have been nice instead of just the moon and just this dark, eerie voice that insults you. Awesome. Cool. And now, Sage was actually a pretty solid character, and I enjoy the relationship she shares with Eggman as a fatherly figure for her. But her sacrifice doesn't really hold any weight or emotional value, to me at least, since in the post-credit scene, she kind of just comes back to life and is uploaded to the web. Though overall, it was an iffy story for me. Though League's better than Force's garbage story, this game is a step in the right direction, just a really weird one, kind of like this. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, Sonic is Sonic. He will always be weird. But I hope you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content. It helps me a ton and means a lot to me. Also, tell me what you think of Frontiers and if it's any good to you. See ya.